I still have the footage on an old hard drive, the one where a massive dying creature looked directly into my camera and spoke two words in perfect English. Help me. I uploaded it in 2019, got 4 million views in 48 hours. Then men in unmarked vehicles showed up at my door and I deleted everything out of fear. But here's what I never told anyone until now. What if I'm the reason it died alone in those woods? And what if it was trying to tell me something far more important than just a cry for help? The footage plays on my computer screen for the thousandth time. My hand hovers over the mouse, trembling slightly. On the screen, a massive figure leans against a tree trunk, its chest rising and falling in labored breaths. The camera shakes because my hands were shaking when I filmed it. You can hear the breathing in the audio, deep and wet, like someone drowning on dry land. Then the creature's mouth opens and sound comes out. Not growling, not howling. Words, actual words in a voice so deep it makes the speakers vibrate. I pause the video and the image freezes. The face fills half the screen now. Dark eyes stare directly into the lens, directly at me. The hair around its face is matted with sweat or mud or both. There's intelligence in those eyes. Fear, too. I've looked into those eyes every night for 5 years. I click pause, and the room goes quiet except for the hum of my laptop fan. My office feels too small suddenly, too dark. I built this room to feel safe, but tonight it feels like a cage. Outside my window, the British Columbia forest stretches for miles. 40 miles to the nearest town, 60 to the nearest city. I moved out here because I love the isolation. Now isolation feels different. It feels like being watched. The video file sits in a folder labeled October 2019. Just that, nothing else, no description that might draw attention if someone hacked my computer. The file size reads 807 megabytes, 10 minutes and 32 seconds of footage that changed my entire life. I only uploaded 2 minutes of it back then. 2 minutes was enough to get 4 million views in 48 hours. 4 million people saw what I saw. Most of them laughed, called it fake, called me a liar, said the suit was obvious, said the acting was terrible, said I was trying to get famous. None of them knew what happened after those 2 minutes. None of them knew what I did. I close the laptop and stand up. My knees crack. I'm 55 years old and I feel 70. The doctor used the word terminal 3 months ago. 6 months to a year, he said. Maybe less, maybe more. Bodies are unpredictable. I asked him if I'd be able to finish one last project. He said probably. I didn't tell him what the project was. I'm telling it now. To you. To whoever watches this. Because I don't have anything left to lose and because what I saw in those woods deserves better than dying alone in my hard drive. Let me back up. October 2019. I was a wildlife photographer, had been for 30 years. Mostly boring work. Deer at sunset, eagles catching fish. Magazine spreads about logging damage and climate change. I wasn't some Bigfoot hunter. I didn't believe in Bigfoot. I believed in bears and elk and bad lighting. I believed in what I could see through a lens and prove on paper. That's important for you to understand. I wasn't looking for this. I didn't want this. I was 40 miles up a logging road doing a documentary on deforestation. The company cutting the trees had hired me to make them look responsible, take photos of their replanting efforts, their sustainable practices, make the stumps look noble somehow. It was money and I needed money after the divorce. So I took the job and I hiked into areas most people never see. Areas without trails or cell service or other humans for days at a time. The smell hit me first that day. I was setting up a shot of a clear-cut hillside when the wind shifted and brought it. Musky and thick. Like a wet dog but heavier, wilder. I'd smelled bear before. This wasn't bear. I'd smelled decomposing elk. This wasn't that either. This was something mean and big and close. My first thought was mountain lion. They smell rank when they're nearby, but mountain lions don't break branches. I heard the snap of wood. Heavy wood. Not twigs. Then another snap. Then breathing. The breathing sounded wrong. Too deep. Too rhythmic. Like someone struggling with every breath. Like someone hurt. My second thought was hikers. Maybe someone had an accident, fell down a ravine, got attacked by an animal. I'm alone out here, and if someone needs help, I'm the only option. So I followed the sound. I had my camera in my hands already. Always did. That's what photographers do. We document everything. It's a reflex. I walked maybe 200 yards into thicker trees, Douglas firs that blocked most of the sunlight. The temperature dropped 10 degrees in the shade. The breathing got louder. I could hear it clearly now, over my own footsteps. I stopped and listened. It was coming from just ahead, behind a massive tree trunk that had to be 15 feet around. I raised my camera, turned on the video function, stepped around the tree, and saw it. The figure slumped against the bark was 8 feet tall, maybe more, covered in dark reddish-brown hair, shoulders broader than any man, arms longer than any man. Its chest moved up and down with effort. I could see a wound on its left shoulder. The hair around it was darker, wet, the smell of infection mixed with that musky scent. My brain tried to make sense of what I was seeing. Bear, it said, just a bear, but bears don't sit like that. Bears don't have hands like that. I stood, frozen, camera rolling, not breathing. Then its head turned and it looked directly at me. My name is Marcus Webb. That matters because in 2 months, someone might search my name and find only my obituary. I want them to find this too. I want them to know I wasn't crazy. I want them to know I saw something real and I failed it. For October 2019, my life made sense. I had a career. Not famous but steady. Magazines paid me to photograph nature. Sometimes newspapers wanted shots of environmental damage. Sometimes conservation groups needed images for fundraising. I traveled to forests and mountains and coastlines with my cameras, and I documented what I found. Bears fishing for salmon, old-growth trees being cut down, glaciers melting, real things, provable things, things other people could see if they stood where I stood. I grew up in Vancouver, city kid. I didn't see real wilderness until I was 20 and took a job as a park ranger for one summer. That summer changed everything. I'd spent my whole life around concrete and cars and noise. Then suddenly I was surrounded by silence and trees and animals that didn't care about humans at all. I bought my first real camera that summer, saved up 3 months of pay for it, started taking pictures of everything. The ranger I worked under told me I had an eye for it, said I could make money if I got serious. So I got serious. I went to school for photography, started selling images to local papers, built a portfolio. By 30, I was making a living. By 40, I was doing well. By 50, I was divorced and taking jobs I didn't love to pay bills I didn't want. The logging company job came through an old contact. He knew I needed work. I knew I wouldn't ask too many questions. The pay was good, $15,000 for 2 weeks of shooting. All I had to do was make their clear-cutting look responsible, photograph their replanting efforts, show saplings growing where old trees used to be, make it look like progress instead of destruction. I told myself it was just a bum, told myself everyone compromises sometimes, told myself the pictures were honest even if the context wasn't. I'm good at lying to myself. Always have been. I drove up to the site on October 8th, took the main highway north out of Vancouver, then turned onto logging roads that got narrower and rougher every mile. My truck bounced over ruts and rocks. Pine branches scraped the sides. The radio lost signal after the first hour. Cell phone lost signal after the second. By the time I reached the logging camp, it was late afternoon, and I hadn't seen another vehicle in 40 minutes. The camp was just trailers and equipment. A dozen workers lived there during the week. They nodded at me but didn't talk much. I wasn't one of them. I was there to make their bosses look good. They knew it, I knew it. I spent the first 3 days photographing the obvious stuff. Trucks hauling logs, workers planting seedlings, hillsides that had been cleared and replanted. The company representative followed me around the first day to make sure I got the right angles. After that, he left me alone. I hiked further into the areas they had already cut. Miles from the camp, the silence out there was total. No birds, no insects, just stumps and sawdust and the smell of fresh-cut wood. It felt like walking through a graveyard. On the 4th day, I hiked beyond the clear-cut areas into old-growth forests they hadn't touched yet. I told myself I was scouting locations. Really, I just wanted to be around living trees for a while. Trees that were hundreds of years old. Trees that would probably be gone in a year. I took pictures of them, knowing these might be the last images anyone ever captured. There's something about photographing things that are about to die. It feels important and sad at the same time. That's when the weather changed. The sky had been clear all morning, but clouds rolled in fast. Thick gray clouds that made the forest darker. The temperature dropped. I checked my watch. 2 in the afternoon, but it felt like evening. I decided to head back. I'd been walking for 3 hours, and the camp was at least 2 hours away. I didn't want to be out there after dark. The forest at night is different. Sounds carry wrong. Shadows move in ways that trick your eyes. I'd spent enough nights in the woods to respect them. I was packing my camera gear when I heard the first branch snap. Loud, close, maybe 50 yards away. I stopped moving and listened. Another snap, then another. Something big was moving through the underbrush. My first thought was bear. Black bears were common in this area. Grizzlies too sometimes. I made noise, clapped my hands, called out. That's what you're supposed to do. Let them know you're human. Give them a chance to leave. The snapping stopped. The forest went quiet. Too quiet. No birds, no squirrels, nothing. That's when I smelled it. The wind shifted and brought the scent. Thick and musky. Animal, but not quite. It filled my nose and made my stomach turn. I'd smelled plenty of animals before. This was different. Stronger. I pulled out my bear spray and held it ready. Backed away slowly. Kept my eyes on the trees where the sound had come from. Then I heard the breathing. Deep and labored. Struggling. That's when everything changed. That's when I stopped thinking about my safety and started thinking someone needed help. I'm going to play the footage now, the full footage. Not the 2 minutes I uploaded before. Not the edited version that went viral. Everything. What you're about to see is 10 minutes and 32 seconds of uncut video. My hands shake in parts. The focus isn't always perfect, but it's real. I need you to understand that before we start. This is real. The video begins with the forest floor, fallen needles and moss. You can hear my breathing behind the camera, fast and shallow. My boots crunch on dry branches as I move forward. The camera tilts up and you see trees, thick Douglas firs blocking most of the sky. The light is gray and flat, cold looking. I'm moving towards something, but the camera doesn't show it yet. Just trees and more trees. Then my voice, whispered. Hello? Is someone there? Do you need help? The breathing sound gets louder in the audio. Deep wheezing breaths, in and out, struggling. The camera pushes past a low branch and suddenly there it is. The figure leans against a massive tree trunk. The bark is rough and dark behind it. The creature itself is huge. The tree trunk is probably 4 feet wide and the creature's shoulders are almost as broad. It sits with its back against the bark, legs stretched out in front, arms resting on the ground. The hair covering its body is dark reddish brown, thick like a bear's coat but longer, shaggier. You can see the hair move slightly in the wind. The chest rises and falls, rises and falls. Each breath looks like effort, like lifting something heavy. The camera zooms in slowly. My hands are steadier now, focused. This is what I do. I document. Even when my brain is screaming, even when nothing makes sense. I point the camera and I record. The creature's left shoulder shows damage. The hair there is matted and dark, almost black, wet looking, blood maybe, or infection. The skin underneath might be visible, but the hair is too thick to tell. The wound looks old, days old. The smell gets worse as I get closer. That musky animal scent mixed with something sour, something rotting. I stop walking. The camera stops moving. I'm maybe 15 feet away now, close enough to see details, close enough to count fingers. It has hands, not paws, hands with 5 fingers. The palms are dark, hairless. The fingers are thick and long, longer than mine. The nails are dark too, broken and dirty. Then it moves. The head turns slowly toward the camera, toward me. The movement is careful, painful. You can see the effort in how slow it turns. The face comes into view and my breath catches on the audio. You can hear it. A sharp inhale. The face is flat, not like a gorilla's protruding snout. Flatter. More human-shaped, but not human. The brow is heavy. The ridge above the eyes sticks out. The eyes themselves are dark, deep set. They look directly into the camera lens, directly at me. There's no animal blankness there, no simple fear or aggression. The expression is complex, aware, intelligent. The eyes blink once, slow, tired. My voice comes again, shaking now. Oh my God, what are you? The words sound stupid the moment I say them. But what else do you say? What words exist for this? The creature's chest expands with another labored breath. The mouth opens slightly. The lips are dark, mostly hidden by hair around the face. Then sound comes out. Deep, deeper than any human voice. Deeper than seems possible. The speaker on my laptop vibrates when this part plays. The sound is guttural. Rough. Quaylat. Pause. Another breath. Quaylat. The word means nothing to me. Nothing I recognize, but it's clearly a word. Deliberate, repeated, not random noise, not animal sounds, language. I must move forward because the camera angle gets lower. Closer. I'm kneeling now, maybe 10 feet away. The creature watches me kneel. Its eyes follow the movement. The breathing continues, wet and rattling. Then its mouth opens wider. The effort is visible. The jaw is working. The throat is moving. Help. The word is clear. Unmistakable. English. The pronunciation isn't perfect. The voice is too deep, too rough, but the word is help. Help me. Two words that change everything. My hands start shaking badly. The camera shakes with them. The image blurs and refocuses. Blurs and refocuses. No, the word tears out of me. No, 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 this isn't happening. The camera drops suddenly, points at the ground, at my boots, at fallen pine needles. You can hear my breathing, gasping, hyperventilating. Oh God, oh God, oh God, I'm panicking. The camera stays pointed down for maybe 15 seconds. Just boots and ground and the sound of me losing control. Then the angle changes. I'm picking the camera back up, pointing it forward again. The creature hasn't moved, still leaning against the tree, still watching. Its right hand lifts slowly off the ground. The movement is weak, shaking with effort. The palm turns upward, fingers slightly curled. The gesture is universal. Pleading, asking. The hand extended toward me. The creature's mouth opens again. More sounds come out, a string of words in that deep, impossible voice. Some I don't recognize. Quaylat appears again. Other syllables that might be words in a language I don't know. Then English again, broken but clear. Help, please. The hand stretches further toward the camera, toward me. The fingers tremble. The breathing gets more labored, faster. The creature is using energy it doesn't have, begging me. I can see that now, watching it back. At the time, I couldn't process it. At the time, my brain was white noise and terror. The camera shakes violently. Then the screen goes black. Not gradually, suddenly, completely black. Because I ran. I dropped the camera in my pack and I ran. And I ran for 2 hours straight. Didn't stop, didn't look back. Branches whipped my face and arms. Thorns tore my jacket. I fell twice and got back up without thinking. My lungs burned, my legs screamed. I didn't care. All I could think about was getting away, getting back to my truck, getting back to civilization where things made sense, where creatures didn't speak, where the rules of reality still applied. I reached the logging camp after dark. The workers were eating dinner in the main trailer. They looked up when I burst through the door, covered in scratches, breathing like I'd almost drowned. One of them asked if I was okay, if I'd seen a bear. I nodded, said yes, said I got too close and had to run. They laughed, told me to be more careful, offered me coffee. I took it with shaking hands and sat in the corner until my heart stopped trying to break through my ribs. I didn't sleep that night, lay in my bunk in the workers' trailer staring at the ceiling. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that hand reaching toward me. I heard that voice saying, "Help me." The creature was hurt, dying maybe, and I ran, left it there alone in the woods. What kind of person does that? What kind of person sees another living thing begging for help and runs away? But what was I supposed to do? Call 911? Tell them what exactly? That Bigfoot needed an ambulance. They'd think I was insane. Maybe I was insane. Maybe I had a breakdown in the woods. Maybe the whole thing was a hallucination brought on by stress and loneliness and too much time alone in the forest. That's what I told myself lying there in the dark. It wasn't real. It couldn't be real. Except I had video. The camera was still in my pack at the foot of my bunk. I got up at 3 in the morning, took the camera outside where no one would see, sat on the steps of the trailer with the tiny screen glowing in the darkness. And I watched. Everything I just showed you, I watched it 3 times. By the 3rd time I was crying. Not from fear, from shame. That thing spoke to me. It asked for help in my language. It learned my language somehow, and I abandoned it. I left it to die alone because I was a coward. The drive back to Vancouver took 6 hours. I didn't remember most of it, just highways and trees and my mind replaying that moment over and over. The hand reaching out, the voice saying, "Please." I got home to my apartment at noon. Small place, 1 bedroom, half empty after the divorce. I lived alone, no pets, no plants, just me and my cameras and silence. I transferred the video file to my laptop, backed it up to an external hard drive, backed it up again to a second drive. Then I sat at my desk and stared at the footage for hours, trying to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to delete it, pretend it never happened, go back to my normal life of photographing birds and trees and getting paid to make logging companies look responsible. But another part of me knew this was important. This was proof that something existed in those woods, something intelligent, something that could speak. The world needed to know. Scientists needed to study this. Maybe someone could go back and help it. Maybe it wasn't too late. That's what I told myself, that I was doing the right thing by sharing it. I uploaded 2 minutes of the footage to YouTube on October 15th. 1 week after I filmed it, I cut out the beginning where I'm walking, cut out most of the middle, just showed the creature against the tree, the labored breathing, the moment it says, "Help me," the hand reaching out. Then I cut it before I ran. Made it look like the video just ended. I titled it "Unknown Creature Filmed in British Columbia Forest." Wrote a simple description. Said I was a wildlife photographer. Said I found this while hiking. Said I didn't know what it was. Posted it at midnight. Went to bed. I woke up 6 hours later to my phone exploding. 4,000 views. Then 10,000. Then 50,000. By noon the next day it hit 1 million. By evening it was at 2 million. The comments section was chaos. Half the people said it was obviously fake. The suit was too good. The acting was terrible. I was trying to get famous, trying to start a hoax. The other half said it looked real, argued about the hair movement, the breathing, the way the light hit the face. News websites picked it up. Podcasts talked about it. Cryptozoology forums analyzed every frame. Within 48 hours, the video had 4 million views, and my email inbox had 3,000 messages. Most of the messages were angry. People are calling me a liar, a fraud, a hack, telling me I was pathetic, that anyone with eyes could see it was fake. Some included threats, said they'd find me, expose me, ruin my career. A few believed it. Those were almost worse. They wanted coordinates. I wanted to organize search parties, wanted to go find the creature themselves. I didn't answer any of them. Just watched the numbers climb and felt sick. On day 3 after I uploaded the video, 2 men came to my apartment. Morning, 8 o'clock. I was drinking coffee and reading more hate comments when someone knocked. Loud, official sounding. I opened the door and 2 men in dark jackets stood there. They didn't introduce themselves, didn't show badges, just asked if I was Marcus Webb, if I'd posted the video. I said yes. They asked to come in. I should have said no, should have asked who they were, what authority they had, but I was tired and scared and I let them in. They sat on my couch. I stood by the door. One of them did all the talking. The other just watched me, didn't blink much. The talker said they were with wildlife management, didn't say which agency, didn't give names, said they'd seen my video, said it was causing unnecessary panic, said people were planning to go into the woods with guns looking for this thing, said someone might get hurt. He asked me very calmly where exactly I'd filmed it. I didn't tell them where I filmed it, told them I couldn't remember exactly, that all the logging roads looked the same, that I'd been hiking for hours before I found it. The man doing the talking smiled, said that was unfortunate, said it would be helpful if I could be more specific. The other man just kept staring at me with those unblinking eyes. Then the talker leaned forward and said something I'll never forget. He said people film bears all the time. Said there's no need to cause panic with creative projects. The way he said creative projects made it clear what he meant. He was telling me to say it was fake, to admit I made it up, to make it go away. I asked them to leave. My voice shook, but I said it. Asked them who they really were, what agency sent them. The talker stood up slowly, smiled again, said they were just concerned citizens, said they hoped I'd do the right thing. Then they left. I walked out of my apartment like they'd never been there. I locked the door behind them and stood there shaking. Looked out the window and saw them get into an unmarked black SUV. No license plate visible from my angle. They sat in the vehicle for 10 minutes just watching my building. Then they drove away. I deleted the video that night, took down the YouTube post, deleted my backups. Deleted everything except the original file on one external hard drive that I buried in the back of my closet. The comments and threats had gotten worse anyway. Someone found my business website, posted my phone number online. I was getting calls at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, people breathing into the phone, people are laughing, people saying they knew where I lived. My email was flooded with messages calling me every name you can imagine. Photography clients started canceling contracts, said they couldn't work with someone who'd damaged their credibility, said hoaxes reflected badly on their brands. Within 2 weeks, I'd lost 4 jobs. Within a month, I'd lost 8. I stopped leaving my apartment much after that. Ordered groceries online, ignored my phone, spent days in bed staring at the ceiling. The depression came on fast and heavy, like a weight pressing down on my chest. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, couldn't think about anything except that creature reaching its hand toward me and me running away. I'd ruined my career for nothing, shared proof that no one believed, and somewhere in those woods that thing had died alone because I was too scared to help it, too scared to go back, too scared to tell anyone the real location even when those men came to my door. The months blurred together. I picked up some small freelance jobs, nothing like before, just enough to pay rent, avoid people, avoided the internet, avoided thinking about October 2019. Then this year the doctor said terminal, 6 months to a year, some kind of cancer. I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I started thinking about what I'd leave behind, what mark I'd made on the world, and I realized I'd spent 5 years hiding the most important thing I'd ever witnessed, the most important footage I'd ever captured. I'd let fear control me, let those men in my apartment control me, let angry strangers on the internet control me. I had proof of something extraordinary, and I buried it in my closet like dirty laundry. So I started making calls, reached out to people I used to know, researchers, scientists, people who study animal behavior and linguistics. Most of them wouldn't talk to me once they heard my name. Said they remembered the hoax video, said they weren't interested, but one person listened, Dr. Sarah Chen. She studies primate vocalizations at the University of British Columbia. I sent her the full footage, asked her to analyze the audio. She called me back 3 days later. Her voice was careful on the phone, professional. She said the vocalizations showed complex language structure, said the sounds weren't random, said there were repeated phonemes that suggested actual words in an organized system, said the anatomical requirements to produce those sounds would need a vocal tract unlike any known primate. Then she said something that made my hands start shaking again. She said the word help wasn't perfect English. The pronunciation was slightly off, like someone learning a second language, like someone who'd heard English spoken and was trying to copy it, not mimicking, learning. She asked me again where I filmed it. I told her I couldn't say. She understood, said if I ever changed my mind, she'd be interested in pursuing this further. We haven't spoken since. I did go back once, 2 weeks after the encounter. Took 3 days to work up the courage, drove up to the logging camp, hiked back into the forest, tried to find the same area, the same tree. It took me 6 hours of wandering, but I found it. The massive Douglas fir with the rough, dark bark. I knew it was the right one because there was blood. Dried blood on the bark at about shoulder height for something 8 feet tall. Dark, rust-colored stains in the cracks of the bark. I stood there staring at it for a long time. Then I looked down at the ground. The dirt around the base of the tree was disturbed, scraped and pushed around like something heavy had moved there. I found handprints in the soft earth. Massive handprints, 5 fingers. Each print was twice the size of mine. The thumb was set at an angle like a human thumb. Not like a bear paw, not like anything else. I took photos of the prints with my phone. They're on the same hard drive as the video. The prints led away from the tree, headed deeper into the forest. Not in a straight line, more like staggering, like something badly hurt trying to walk. I followed them for maybe 100 yards until they disappeared into harder ground covered in pine needles.